Hello and welcome to Coffee with Carey. Almost finished with my third cup of the day. Welcome and thanks for being here today. If you're new, I'm Carey, matchmaker, dating coach in the Chicago area. I'm glad you popped in today because I think I've got a fun episode for us. We're going to talk about getting your flirt on, I think is what I'm going to call this one. And it's just a way to reconnect with the flirting. If you're flirting, if you haven't done that, some things to think about if you're out there trying to connect with somebody in real life. Dating apps are a different kind of banter. Maybe we should do an episode about that. But today, in real life, flirting with somebody, if you're out of practice, you may want to stick around because that's what's on the agenda. Hi, I don't think we've met. I'm Carey. That's like super easy. Could always do that, right? Just introduce yourself to somebody that you don't know. Depending on the circumstances, that could be perfectly acceptable. If you're in a group of people that most of them know one another, or quite a few of them, you have other friends there with you, and some of your friends know their friends, just introducing yourself is just totally fine. At this point, I would like to remind you that you have one very important tool with you when you are out and about, and that would be your face. And a friendly face always attracts more people than a closed off or scowling face. You don't want to see my 11s or me looking like I'm ticked off or had a bad day. So being just a pleasant face, you don't have to be grinning at somebody and freaking them out, but just looking friendly and approachable will be a benefit to you. And don't forget, ladies, not so much the guys if you actually want to know the truth. Smiling guys, not as approachable as you might think unless it's a quick little smile where you catch somebody looking at you. But for the most part, ladies, I want you to be aware that your smile is a great tool at your disposal. A cute little smile, maybe not the big grin, the big wide-faced grin, but something more, cute, little playful, I think is what I'm aiming for. And also a quick reminder, if you haven't been out there in a while and you haven't thought about it lately, your teeth should be white. So if you are not currently doing anything to keep them white or to brighten them up after 20, 30 years of drinking coffee or wine, or if you were a smoker back in the day, you may want to freshen those up with some Crest White Strips or see your dentist. I have a little program with my dentist. He gives me a free, I didn't get my free tube, didn't I, when I was there? All right, now he owes me 2 for that. I was just at the dentist. So remember your smile and your pleasant face. That would be number 1. Number 2, I would say don't underestimate the power of humor. And I'm not talking about making a joke, but just being lighthearted and being humorous, being in a conversation with somebody, remembering that your sense of humor and your lightness and playfulness is key to this situation, as it is in a lot of areas of life. And yes, this requires some creativity, some quick thinking, being able to think on your feet even. But if you have a sense of humor, it would be great to be able to summon it in this situation, because humor always makes people feel at ease around you. So if you're not great at that and being quick on your feet does not come naturally, I would tell you to do exactly what I do, tell people to do for so many things that they are uncomfortable with currently, which is that practice makes better. Number 3, I thought we should talk about touching. I know things are a little weird out there and you have to be careful about touching somebody or making contact. If you're a woman, this is going to probably be a little bit easier, but a brief 6 seconds or less touch of somebody's forearm or their hand or their shoulder is still perfectly acceptable. They say to quickly remove your hand. Like you make the touch and then you move away. So it's like, I can't believe you said that, and then remove your hand. Don't leave it lingering there on somebody's body. It's a brief couple second touch, and then you're making a connection with them and they're feeling more comfortable and you've already established a physical contact with them, and that can really help in flirting. Speaking of using the body, the next one would be to mirror somebody's body language. And that means if you're having a conversation with somebody and they're leaning against the wall, you may want to lean against the wall. If you're talking and they lean to a side and cross their arms, you don't want to look at them crossing their arms and do the same thing, obviously, but you may want to lean in that direction, and over the next minute or so, just also kind of cross your arms naturally. If they've got their legs crossed and leaning in, body language that obviously means that they're leaning towards you and not turning away or crossing their legs the other way, that they're interested in what you have to say and are enjoying the conversation. And if you can use little things, if they are leaning or they are putting their hands on the table, things of this nature, if you can, and you can look up videos on mirroring people's behavior. Very interesting and probably very helpful in this situation. So try to mirror their body language. Number 4, I recently made an episode about some of the things that I've noticed women doing with their voices, some of the things we do that kind of sabotage getting our message across, not only in relationships, but in workplace situations, etc. And you could check that out. I'll put a link to it right here. But for our purposes today, where that would be helpful to not do some of those things, but one more thing probably not to do, make sure you don't fall into a lazy habit of just speaking in a more monotone voice where there's no animation to what you're saying and you're kind of real easy, steady, all in a certain part of your range. Probably maybe not as low as mine, but that might happen to you a little bit higher in tone, but pitch. And I think that you want to have a little bit of up and down in your voice. So it seems like you're interested. A little animation, a little up and down in the conversation, a lilt as it were, is probably helpful for the ladies who are getting back out there and talking to a man in a not business or family or friend situation, to kind of keep that in mind. Also, what you're saying is important. Typically, it's great when you're trying to make a connection with somebody if you try to say you're in agreement with what they're saying. If you are indeed in agreement, you don't want to agree to something you think is crazy, wrong, or stupid. But if somebody says something and you agree, it's saying, yeah, okay, yeah, I agree. Those types of things help create a bond with somebody. You're making a connection. And these are little subtle things that will make that connection even stronger in a very short period of time. Number 5, we talked about being approachable, but what truly makes you approachable? What do men tell me when I'm screening them and asking them what turns their head or what makes them want to continue talking to a woman? I ask that question. I'm always trying to gauge if maybe they have a type, if what turns their head is always a blonde with blue eyes or a redhead with curly hair or some dark-haired woman with olive skin. So I ask if they have a type, and I ask them then, what does the woman typically look like if you do a double take? If somebody catches your eye and you look back, what does she normally look like? And a lot of times the guys say, I don't really have a type physically, but I'm always going to look twice at a woman who just really has a strong personality about her. There's a confidence like exuding from her. She's got good posture. She's standing up straight. She's looking not meek or timid, but has a stance that makes her seem like she feels good about herself and isn't trying to shrink into a corner somewhere. Sometimes hard to do at a big party or something where you're a business event where you know nobody. But in other situations, bring your most positive attitude with you and muster all of your confidence and then let it shine while you are walking around there or talking to people, because that is really attractive to other people. They want to know who you are and what you're all about and why are you so darn confident. Number 6, I want to talk about maybe creating a bigger aura, if this makes sense. You're trying to create the feeling of fun. A playfulness is probably very key here. But what I'm looking for is somebody who can be playful, be enthusiastic, even complimentary to the other person. If you notice something nice about this person, don't be afraid to say, I'm not sure it's a really good color for you. Or, oh, somebody who's not wearing a black shirt, if everybody seems to be wearing the same thing, or you have really pretty eyes. If you are confident, you can say that, and you can figure out in this situation, in this setting, how to say that so that it's well received and not creepy. But definitely giving somebody a compliment is always appreciated. It might be as you're approaching, you could just be saying, oh, I like your shoes. But if it feels natural, don't be afraid to give a compliment. And then I wanted to maybe give a little honorable mention to teasing, because a lot of people will say they like sarcasm. And I personally, not a huge fan of sarcasm. I think a lot of times it is teasing, but like sort of mean. And it's not my preferred form of humor, but it is sort of flirtatious. And if you enjoy that kind of flirting and that kind of humor, this is a perfect opportunity to use that. And even better still than using the teasing towards somebody else is to use it towards yourself. That self-deprecating thing is very attractive to other people. I think a big part of this is probably not taking yourself too seriously, not sweating the small stuff, but like, let's say that I'm wearing flats that night and I could, come up, stand up, make some joke about myself and being short, not like how's the air up there, but something more clever. You might have to think ahead about some of the ways or the things about yourself you feel comfortable making fun of. I'm trying to think here out loud, and if I was going to make a joke about my height, I might maybe reference that Randy Newman song. If we're the same age, that might be a common reference point. I hope you don't believe that short people have no reason to live. You remember that song? It was funny. Something like that. Or if you're signing the check and say, I should have been a doctor, my penmanship is pathetic. Maybe you could write your name down here with your phone number and we'll see if your handwriting's better than mine. It's off the top of my head. Just trying to be playful and fun and a little flirtatious. That's what I came up with on the spot without even having a man here. If I can do that and there's nobody here, you're going to kill it. And then just before I let you go, a couple things to avoid, I think, a couple disclaimers maybe. I don't really love the idea of you using sexual innuendo as part of your humor. I think it can be a little strange to somebody you don't know, especially if you're a man. Those double entendres are really hard to pass up. You really have to be able to read the room. And if you can read the room and she sets you up for the perfect one-liner that is a sexual innuendo, then apologize profusely and say, you set me up. I just had to go there. I'm so sorry. That's not who I am. And then you're back to the self-deprecating humor, right? I could just never pass up an excellent innuendo. And, apologize. And I think that would be okay. But I wouldn't go there on purpose if at all possible. Also, I want to remind you that if somebody's not responding in a way that you feel you're getting back what you're putting into it, don't linger. There's plenty of fish in the sea, and I know a lot of the guys here will say to me, women, if I start talking to strangers or I start a conversation, they think I'm creepy. And of course, this is all about reading the room and practicing so that you're talking to people you don't know all the time, and you can learn to tailor that so that it's fun, fresh, and pleasant interaction for them as opposed to somebody being creepy. And I think if your facial expression is in check and you're speaking about something very neutral and or introducing yourself or talking about where you are or something you noticed about the food or the drinks at this place or the game going on or the whatever you're doing, I can always go back to the dates I set up for clients, which are cocktails and appetizers, or going out with friends for me might be dancing or listening to music. So might be a bar situation, but this could be anywhere. And like a coffee shop, you want to talk to somebody. You can say, I ran out of beans at my house. I had to come here because I'm addicted to the stuff. Or you might say something about the prices at Starbucks, or this coffee shop is so much better than Starbucks, don't you think? Or it took me forever to find a place around this neighborhood that wasn't a Starbucks, but I love this place. Have you been here before? Things of this nature. Use your surroundings to your benefit as well. All right, I hope you found that a little helpful or at least interesting. If you did, please give the episode a thumbs up. And while you're there, subscribe, hit that button. It's free, helps me out because it allows my video to be seen by even more people who have yet to stop by here and visit with us. And the ring bell is great because it notifies you every time a new episode goes live. This is crazy right now, just share this with you, but I am still trying to upload Friday's episode this week, which was supposed to be uploaded. I started Thursday night, so it will be ready to go Friday at noon. Just went to bed. This is Saturday night right now, and I still don't have a video up for Friday. And it's the reason I have no iPad here to see what I look like. Do I have, I don't know. I don't have an iPad. It's uploading a video for like 3 days now. Anyway, look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, have a good one. I know things are kind of weird out there and you have to be super careful. You have to be super careful about touching somebody